It is common knowledge that Lewis Hamilton is considered a symbol of success so long as Formula One is concerned. He is not the most successful of all time. However, he is the most successful Formula One driver of his generation. He has set several records and has also broken lots of them. The Brit is great, no doubt. However, there are records he has not broken, and one of them is that he is not the driver with the most world championships. This is a record he hopes to break and is currently one championship away from breaking. However, with the news unfolding, he might need more than one world championship to break this record. Hello everyone, welcome back to F1 Racing. Before we get started, please subscribe and smash that like button and bell icon so you do not miss out on our other videos. Hamilton currently has 7 world championships. Unfortunately, there's a possibility that he might be stripped of one world championship, leaving him with 6. So, if you are hoping the British driver gets a record 8 world championships, you might need a lot of patience as things have just gotten more difficult. It might seem impossible for Lewis Hamilton to lose a world championship. As much as this seems impossible, there is a likelihood that this could happen. And if you must understand the travails of the British driver, then we should take a journey back in time. In 2008, an event occurred in Formula One. This event was called Crashgate and took place in Singapore. The Crashgate scandal is not only a moment any Formula One executive wants to remember because it was a big dent on the image of this sport. As much as everyone agrees that Crashgate was very bad news for Formula One, and amazingly still continues to be bad news, just a handful of people are aware of what really happened. So, what went down in Singapore in 2008? In September 2008, several teams took part in the Singapore Grand Prix. And at the 17th turn of the 14th lap of this race, a Renault driver by name of Nelson Piquet Jr. crashed into the wall. This was an accident, or so everyone believed. It actually looked like an accident, so it would have been difficult for anyone to think differently. After the accident, things could not go on normally. There was debris, and Formula One officials deployed a safety car while the debris was getting cleared. This accident, which was actually not an accident, caused drivers some time. However, not everyone was affected. At the end of the race, Fernando Alonso came first. Alonso was Piquet's teammate at the time, and somehow, this crash favored him. Well, everything had to favor him as they had it all planned from the outset. Things were not all perfect. However, for some reason, no one saw anything wrong. While talking about his crash, Piquet simply said it was a simple mistake. Everyone saw it as one. So, it really did not make headlines. The matter was actually insignificant, so everyone soon forgot about it. Things stayed silent and business continued. Things did not stay silent for a long time because not too long after the Hungarian Grand Prix that took place a year later, Renault released Piquet. This was not supposed to be a big deal. However, he was not pleased with their action. Apparently, he had made a huge sacrifice for the team, so maybe he had a point. He revealed that he had an understanding with the team, and it is only normal to see that the driver felt he was treated unjustly. He went on to reveal that his crash was not an accident. Rather, he crashed his car because his team gave him an order to do so. Not long after his statement, Renault was slammed with the charge of conspiracy, and as one would expect, their first response was that of denial. After a series of denials, Renault did not make a move to go against the charges of conspiracy. Things were already messy for Renault. However, they even got messier when their executive director of engineering, Flavio Briatore, stepped down from their offices. Things were still heating up as the FIA stepped into the matter, and the first thing they did was suspend Renault for 2 years and disqualify them from F1. That's not all. The FIA suspended Flavio Briatore from all events that had a thing to do with Formula One. Simmons also got banned for 5 years. The 2 former Renault executives decided to appeal their suspension and bans and did this successfully. Although they were both free to work with other teams in Formula One, they both decided against working in Formula One. Now, it is established what happened in 2008 and how it messed up with Formula One's image. At this point, you might be wondering how it affects Lewis Hamilton, especially if you're a fan of the British driver. Well, Lewis Hamilton did nothing wrong in 2008. However, when things like the Crashgate happen, there are winners and losers. As much as Hamilton did not influence things in any way, he was one of the winners that emerged from this incident. Just like Hamilton, Brazilian driver Felipe Massa was affected by this event. However, unlike Hamilton, he was affected negatively. Hamilton won his first F1 title in Singapore in 2008. However, as things stand, he might not hold on to this title for too long. This is because the first runner-up in the 2008 Formula One season, Felipe Massa, might challenge Hamilton's victory in court. Massa did very well in that season and lost the F1 championship to Hamilton by a single point. He could have won. However, in the final race, which was in Brazil, he could not win the final lap. With this, Hamilton went on to win with just a point. This seems quite normal and something that virtually everyone can live with. However, it is not so straightforward. Remember, Nelson Piquet Jr. crashed his car into the wall. In this race, Hamilton was third and Massa 13th. Since Hamilton came third, he was able to earn a lot of points. So, if things had been normal and Piquet had not crashed his car, Massa wouldn't have come in 13th, as this crash negatively affected his pit stop. It seemed like there was nothing Massa could do. However, statements by Bernie Ecclestone have given him renewed hope. As much as there is no guarantee that things will go his way, Massa is willing to let the court decide his fate. Ecclestone was not in the dark concerning the Crashgate scandal. However, he, alongside Max Mosley, former FIA president, did not think reacting was good for the face of the sport. In Ecclestone's words, "We decided not to do anything for now. We wanted to protect the sport and save it from a huge scandal. That's why I used angelic tongues to persuade my former driver Nelson Piquet to keep calm for the time being." Back then, there was a rule that a World Championship classification after the FIA awards ceremony at the end of the year was untouchable. So, Hamilton was presented with the trophy and everything was fine. We had enough information and time to investigate the matter. According to the statutes, we should have canceled the race in Singapore under these conditions. That means it would never have happened for the championship standings, and then Felipe Massa would have become world champion and not Lewis Hamilton. For Ecclestone's statement, Massa did not seem interested in chasing his lost title. Things might not go his way. However, if things actually work for him, Hamilton will lose his title. When asked why he did nothing about the stolen title, he revealed that he was simply abiding by the rule, then stated that as soon as a championship gets decided, the driver receives the trophy, and after that, it becomes impossible to change. This is regardless of the fact that there could be proven theft. Massa went on to say, "At the time, Ferrari's lawyers told me about this rule. We went to other lawyers, and the answer was that nothing could be done. So, I logically believed in this situation." But after 15 years, we hear that the former owner of the category says that he found out in 2008, together with the president of the FIA, and they did nothing to not tarnish the name of F1. This is very sad, to know the result of this race was supposed to be cancelled and I would have a title. In the end, I was the one who lost the most with this result. So, we are going after it to understand all this. Fans of Formula One know that Massa's chances of getting a different result are really slim. However, they are not the only ones that know this. He also knows this. If he knows he might not get anything positive even after putting in so much effort, why then is he doing so much? Right now, only Massa knows why he is doing so much to get back something that is most likely lost. He has come out to say he understands the fact that there are rules guiding Formula One. Also, he is aware that it will be impossible to get back something you lost 15 years ago in some countries. So, he might not get anything from his efforts after all. Nonetheless, Massa has made it clear that he is keen on looking deeply into the situation. This is something he will do with his lawyers. Beyond merely studying the case at hand, he is interested in knowing what the law says and the rules he is playing by. Massa clearly believes in justice. That's not all. He also thinks he is being punished for a crime that was not his fault in any way. Furthermore, the Brazilian thinks if he suffered because of a stolen race or robbery, justice should not be swept under the carpet. And by justice, what does Massa mean? Well, when Massa talks about justice, he is simply saying the right situation is to cancel the result of that race. It is the only justice that can be done in a case like this. Although this is actually the first time something of this magnitude is happening in Formula One, Massa thinks other similar situations have occurred in sports. He said, "We have already seen other situations happening in sports, such as Lance Armstrong, who was proven to have doped. And he lost all the titles. What is the difference?" Several Lewis Hamilton fans might not want their superstar to lose a championship. However, they have to agree with the fact that Massa does have a point. Massa's case might not be totally out of place. However, looking beyond emotions, how strong is it? There are several ways this case could go, and regardless of how it goes, it does not seem like it will favor the Brazilian driver. Several Hamilton fans are scared of him losing one championship. However, this is very unlikely as he has not done anything. One might say he benefited from a flawed system. This is not entirely wrong. However, he did not commit any offense and will not be punished. Talking about punishments, if anyone will be punished because of the Crashgate which took place in 2008, that is no other person but Fernando Alonso. Punishing Alonso means he will have to give up the number 1 position he got after completing the Grand Prix in Singapore. Now, if he is off the number 1 position, the driver that came second automatically moves to number 1. It does not end here. Hamilton came third, so he too climbs a place higher. As third, Hamilton got 6 points. Climbing to second place will increase his points by 2. What does this imply? It simply means if he had won the championship because he finished a point ahead of Massa, this increases the point difference in the championship between him and Massa to 3. So this ultimately gives him a more comfortable lead. Well, you might say, Massa also gets to climb. Yes, it's true that Massa gets to climb up the table by 1 position. At 13th place, Massa got no points from the race. Now, if he climbs to 12th position, he will get an addition of 0 points. So this really does not change things for him. However, it changes everything for Hamilton. Now, Hamilton climbing up by a position is just one way to look at things. If we decide to look at this situation from a legal perspective, Massa still does not get things to be in his favor. Legally, every driver that takes part in the Formula 1 Championship agrees to abide by all the rules, even if they end up not looking favorable. Going by the rules, Felipe Massa does not have the right to protest after losing a race. So, whatever he is trying to do now is not quite legal. Also, any team or driver looking to get a review loses their right for this after 14 days. That's not all. As soon as the FIA holds its annual awards ceremony, it becomes impossible to reverse the final standings of a championship. At this point, it almost seems like the coast is clear for Lewis Hamilton, and he will not be losing his first Formula 1 championship after all. On the other hand, things might not get any better for Felipe Massa. There is still one option for Massa if he really wants to take his chances. This option is trying out the International Sports Tribunal. The CAS is very powerful and can stamp their foot in a situation like this. Unfortunately for Felipe, and rather luckily for Hamilton, the CAS majorly deals with doping cases. Of course, this is not a doping case, so it is out of the jurisdiction of the International Sports Tribunal. As it stands, Lewis Hamilton is not in any form of trouble, so if you're his fan, you can feel relaxed and look forward to him winning his 8th Formula 1 championship. And that ends today's video. What do you think the outcome of Massa's legal move will be? Let us know in the comments section below. Please subscribe, like, and share if you want to know the latest tidbits in F1 this season. See you in our next video.